The sterile white walls of the hospital had become a canvas of endless days and nights, each moment blending into the next like the pages of an uninterrupted novel. My liver condition, once a formidable adversary, had slowly succumbed to the relentless barrage of medication and care, allowing me to regain strength and color that had been lost in the battle. During my convalescence, I found myself drawn to the silent symphony of the ward next door, where a girl named Florence danced with her thoughts, forever trapped in the solitude of her window's frame. Her quietude was a stark contrast to the cacophony of carts and monitors that filled our shared corridor. Yet it was her enigmatic presence that breached the invisible divide, casting a spell that even the most boisterous patients couldn't resist. Her eyes, a bottomless well of unspoken words, remained steadfastly on the horizon as if the outside world held the answers she so desperately sought. And it was in those brief, unguarded moments when she found refuge in the pages of existential masters like Dostoevsky, but I saw a glimpse of her soul, a smile blooming as she devoured the words of Notes from Underground. Florence was an ethereal beauty, captivating those who dared to look beyond her silence. And though she remained a stranger, her connection to the literary realm was a thread that weaved us together in a tapestry of shared solace. As an introverted observer, I felt a kinship with her, bound by our love for the written word and the profound emotions it could evoke. Yet I never mustered the courage to introduce myself, content to admire her from afar. Little did I know that our fates were about to intertwine in a dance far more complex than the quiet routine of hospital life. One fateful evening, as the sun painted the sky with its fiery kiss, the usual hum of the hospital grew eerily absent, leaving only the distant echoes of footsteps and the soft beeping of machines to serenade the ward. I was nestled in the cocoon of my bed, lost in the philosophical musings of Kierkegaard, when I heard the rustling of pages from Florence's room. Curiosity piqued, I glanced up to see her standing at the threshold of her doorway, her eyes searching the hallway with a desperation I hadn't noticed before. She clutched a weathered copy of Crime and Punishment, her knuckles white with intensity. Our gazes locked, and in that instant, the air thickened with an unspoken question. With trembling hands, I beckoned her over, and she approached, each step a silent confession of her curiosity. When she reached my side, I offered her a shy smile, which she returned with a nod that spoke volumes. Without a word, I handed her my own well-thumbed copy of The Bell Jar, a silent suggestion that we might share more than just a love for books that whispered the truths of the human condition. Her eyes widened with recognition, a spark igniting. That night, we found ourselves engrossed in a conversation that transcended the mundane, delving into the labyrinth of our souls. We spoke of despair and hope, of the absurdity of life and the beauty in its fleeting moments. Our voices hushed, we shared our deepest fears and dreams, and in the dim glow of the nightlight, the unspoken bond between us grew stronger, weaving a narrative of friendship that was as unexpected as it was profound. For the first time since my admission, I felt a connection that pierced through the isolation of my hospital-induced exile, and Florence, the girl who had been a silent enigma, became a confidant, a kindred spirit whose laughter now resonated. With a newfound warmth that filled the cold, empty corners of my heart, the day of my discharge grew ever closer, the looming specter of the outside world a bittersweet promise of freedom and uncertainty. I knew that leaving the hospital meant leaving behind the sanctuary we'd created together, the silent confessions shared through the language of literature. As the nurses bustled in and out, finalizing the last of my paperwork, Florence hovered at the edge of my vision, her eyes filled with an unspoken longing that mirrored my own. The air grew thick with the scent of antiseptic and the weight of unsaid goodbyes, and I could feel the invisible threads that bound us starting to fray. In the quietude of the afternoon, she slipped a book into my hands. The pages dog-eared and well-loved. It was The Great Gatsby, a novel she hadn't yet read but had heard me speak of with a wistful fondness. Inside the cover, she had scribbled a note, the ink a stark reminder of the permanence of our connection amidst the transience of our hospital lives. To the girl who taught me the beauty of words unspoken, it read, "May our hearts continue to converse through the pages of our favorite books." My eyes brimming with unshed tears, I met her gaze, and in that moment I knew that our story was far from over. We exchanged a knowing smile, the kind that speaks of 1,000 shared secrets and a future filled with possibility. As I wheeled my bag down the hallway, the echo of her laughter trailed behind me, a sweet reminder of the love that had bloomed between us, unspoken but palpable as the ink on the pages we cherished. The cliffhanger of our burgeoning romance lingered in the air, a tantalizing promise of what lay beyond the hospital's doors. Our hearts remained intertwined, pulsating with the anticipation of the next chapter in our shared narrative, a tale of two souls forever bound by the quiet rebellion of a stolen glance and the power of a shared literary escape.